Welcome into the Max Stern Athletic Center. I'm Yosef Silver alongside Avery Stepner. We are going to send it straight to anthems, but don't go anywhere. We'll be right back for analysis and after the anthems and lineups and Max basketball.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we ask everyone to please rise and join our student athletes, coaches, and officials in the national anthem of the United States of Israel.
Welcome back into the booth here in the Max Stern Athletic Center. We'd like to thank JBS, the Jewish Broadcasting Service, for broadcasting this game on national television. JBS is dedicated to strengthening Jewish identity and education through their 24/7 programming. It's an incredible platform for sharing these games, and we're so grateful for the support of the Hope family for once again making this season's TV broadcast possible. It's now time for tonight's starting lineups, which are sponsored by the Yeshiva University Office of Admissions. As you start your college journey, make sure you visit us online to check out all the great events and opportunities we have for YU students and how you too can be a Maccabee. Starting with the Mount St. Mary Knights wearing their road blues. At guard, the 5'8" senior from Hazlitt, New Jersey, number 3, Justin Rivera. At guard, the 6'1" senior from Campbell Hall, New York, number 1, Brendan Graham. At guard, the 6'2" senior from Port Jefferson Station, New York, number 2, Matt Walsh. At forward, the 6'4" senior from Lansdale, PA, number 14, J.P. Egan. At forward, the 6'7" junior from West Sand Lake, New York, number 20, Connor Gemmel. And the Knights are coached by head coach Ryan Kalabowski, now in his 16th season at Mount St. Mary. And getting into Yeshiva University Maccabees in their home whites. Starting at guard, the 6' senior from Bergenfield, New Jersey, number 23, Max Zachary. Starting at guard, the 6'2" senior from Muncie, New York, number 12, Zevi Samet. Starting at guard, the 6'7" freshman from Rishon LeZion, number 11, Yair Dovrat. Starting at forward, the 6'5" senior from Tel Aviv, Israel, number 15, Roy Itzkovich, number 13, excuse me. Starting at forward, the 6'7" junior from Givatayim, Israel, number 55, Yoav Selka. And the Macs are coached by head coach Elliot Steinmetz, now in his 12th season at Yeshiva. Now, Avery, we talked about, the starting lineups. Who are the key guys to look out for tonight?
On the Mac side, Max Ackheim, the star senior guard for Yeshiva, has been known as a Mount St. Mary killer over the years, putting up good numbers against them. More on that later. So he's someone that's going to have to get going just overall this season for Yeshiva, just to have another guard scoring presence in the backcourt. So look for him tonight to put together a good performance against a group of guys that he's seen a lot throughout the years in Skyline. On the other side, it's going to be Connor Gemmel, number 20, the big for Mount St. Mary. He's the guy that's going to have his hands full against a bigger Yeshiva lineup. I mean, you have Dovrat, you got Oselka, you got Dotan, all 6'7" or above. So he's going to have his hands full trying to box him out, man the middle, and keep this game competitive.
Yeah, it should be a good one. In their game last year, they actually played the last game of the season, senior night for Yeshiva. Both teams are already kind of locked into their playoff situations. The Max benched Max Zachheim and Zevi Samet, and Mount St. Mary came out with the win, and this is a team that the Max will have to play their best against if they want to come out on top, as Yeshiva wins the tip, and it's Oselka at the wing. Now Zachheim. Zachheim working on Walsh, finds Samet wide open in the corner, 4-3, got it! Beautiful start for Yeshiva, 3-0 Maccabees.
Yeah, and against the zone, that's going to be a spot that's going to be vulnerable for the Knights. They're playing about a 1-2-2 type zone. That's going to leave the corners open, especially with them trying to collapse on Yeshiva's bigs.
And now it's Egan, pull up baseline, no good. Yair Dovrat with the rebound. Zevi Samet. Now Dovrat, Samet. Now it's Zachheim. Zachheim moving around. Samet tries to find the open space. Now they give it to him. Zevi Samet again. Another three from Zevi Samet. Quick timeout, Coach Kadlubowski. He does not like what he sees from his guys. 6-0 Yeshiva, not even a minute into the game. What a start for Yeshiva.
Yeah, and I've seen that timeout from an unhappy coach way too many times. You come in with a game plan. They're playing a 3-2 to start, and you tell your guys, the one guy we can't let open to shoot is Zevi Samet. He's one of the best shooters in the country, and you give him 2 easy looks to start the game. That cannot happen, especially when you're going on the road against a team like Yeshiva. I'm sure he's talking about that in the huddle. As you see, he's a little fired up right now.
Yeah, and just to talk about, a little bit of the path on this season for both of these teams. Both teams would probably tell you Yeshiva coming into the game 5-7, Mount St. Mary at 2-10. Both of them would tell you not exactly, the record doesn't exactly indicate how good the teams are. Obviously, we know about how Yeshiva's played so many tough teams, but even for Mount St. Mary as well.
Yeah, both teams feel like they're there. They feel like they've had opportunities this season to be the teams they want to be. They just haven't been able to close games. As you see, there's a good look into the corner. The 3 doesn't go, but tonight's all going to be all about playing a complete game, all 40 minutes for Yeshiva and Mount St. Mary. Try to come out with the win.
A 3 from Dovrat now. Front iron, no good. And that's rebounded by Connor Gemmel. Brendan Graham, senior guard. And that's picked off by Zachheim. Zachheim taking it the other way. Got it. Max Zachheim. Quick layup for Yeshiva, already an 8-0 lead.
Yeah, and Yeshiva is strapping on the wings, and they got a lot of bigger defenders, so it's hard for these Mount St. Mary guards to see over them and make the right reads. So good start defensively, tactically for Coach Steinmetz.
And now it's Graham back at the logo. Walsh, quick pass to Rivera. Justin Rivera for 3. Couldn't get it. Rebounded by Roy Itzkovich and dumps it off to the fellow redhead, Max Zachheim. Yair Dovrat front court, got it. Quick fast break points as it's 10-0 Yeshiva, barely 2 minutes in.
Yeah, so a tough start in the half-court offense for the Knights. I think one thing they could do to counteract this defense is to play at the faster pace, run the ball up the court. Even if you don't have numbers, you just don't want to let Yeshiva get set in their defense and try to force them into some mismatches.
Graham in the corner. Oselka with the closeout. Now Graham puts it up, rims out, and Connor Gemmel there to clean up as he was able to move Max Zachheim out of the way for that rebound. 10-2 Yeshiva as Mount St. Mary finally gets on the board. Inside high post, that's how you attack it. Dovrat. Now Zachheim, Max Zachheim moving inside. Kicks it out to Itzkovich in the corner. Hoof goes for 3. Front rim, no good. A little bit short. Matt Walsh in transition, gives it to Rivera. Rivera blocked by Oselka. 5-8 on 6-7 did not work well for Mount St. Mary as it's Yair Dovrat on the wing. Dovrat moving inside. Now Roy Itzkovich loses the handle, gets it back. Down low, what can he do? Got to worry about the 3 seconds. Blocked by Egan, but avoids the 3-second call. Yeshiva will retain possession, 18 on the shot clock.
Yeah, Mount St. Mary already going some subs, putting in a little bit more size. As you see, number 12, Rob Jeremino comes into the game. Who look to battle against some of these Yeshiva bigs.
And it's Samet, now Zachheim. Yair Dovrat. High post to Selko, now takes it in and gets it through the contact with Matt Walsh. Tough finish from Yoavo Selko.
Yeah, Yair Dovrat's going to be a big part of this game for Yeshiva. Against the zone, it's all about playmaking. It's all about passing through the zone, trying to find the open spots. None better than Yair Dovrat for Yeshiva. As there's a three by Rob Germino. Pardon me, Connor Gemmel. As we highlighted pregame, he's going to be a key to this game.
Yeah, and it's not just that 6-7 frame inside, but even his three-point shooting, as we saw from there, could make a big impact. As Zachheim, like a ninja, going through that defense. Dovrat, three. Boom. The Macs are on fire from deep. 15-5 Yeshiva lead. 4 minutes in. Gotta believe Coach Steinmetz happy with the start as that kicks to the corner for Gemmel. Excuse me, that was Jeremino on the three, too strong. And now it's Rivera. Gets to the corner for Walsh. Too strong. And now Yair Dovrat going to take it down for the Macs. Passed a little bit too far. Mount St. Mary couldn't handle the steal.
Yeah, it was the right idea, partner, as you're going to see on the replay. But one thing I don't understand here is you got about a 5-inch advantage with Oselko against anyone on this Mount St. Mary team. Just throw it up top. Just throw it up top. You know your guy can get it. It was the right idea, and I like the pass. Just maybe throw it up top instead of bounce pass.
Max Zachheim moving in now, gives it back out. Itzkovich at the wing. Roy Itzkovich gives it to Zachheim at the wing. Back to Roy. Roy moving in. Against Walsh, throws it away. That's taken by Anthony Marziotti. Marziotti now for Mount St. Mary. That's a pull-up three from Lynch. Got it. So Liam Lynch, good response for the Knights as it was 10-0. Now it's 15-8. Mount Yeshiva with the lead, but Mount St. Mary coming back.
Yeah, this 1-2-2 press. Mount St. Mary is going to try to trap on baseline, the sideline, pardon me. So they're going to try to bait the Yeshiva ball handlers into dribbling in there where they can try to force some turnovers.
Yeah, Mount St. Mary, a very zone-heavy team, but they can alternate their zones and change things up, as that was a foul on number 2, Matt Walsh. Tripped up Roy Itzkovich.
Yeah, and you talked about number 0, Liam Lynch. Hit a big three before to cut the deficit to 7. He's a guy that Coach K really likes. He's an explosive scorer off the bench, can really, bring some energy into the bench lineups for the Knights, doing so early on.
Now it's Zachheim, kicks to the corner for Dotan. Dotan 4-3. Not strong enough. And it's rebound taken by Liam Lynch. Liam Lynch moving down, Dotan sticking with him. Moves in. And that pass is taken away by Zevi Samet. What a play by Zevi Samet, getting it around Liam Lynch. But there looks like they're going to say between Zevi and Dotan, one of them was out of bounds. We'll see on the replay.
Yeah, it looks like he knocked the ball out of bounds, so it's going to stay with the Knights. It's the right call there.
Marziotti now to Jeremino. Pops up after hitting the rim. Yair Dovrat. Zachheim pulls up. And that's no good. Rebound by Rob Jeremino. Liam Lynch. Lynch working on Dotan Bardichev. Lynch getting trapped down low. Pass taken by Samet. Samet running the other way. Goes up with the layup. No good. Zachheim there to clean up. That was blocked. Good transition defense there from the Knights. And now they're going to try to turn that into some transition offense as it's Egan. Baseline J. Banks it in from the baseline. Don't see that too often. As that goes in now 15-10. Knights on a 10-5 run.
Yeah, that's the type of pace that the Knights want to play with. Just speeding up the game. Making it go back and forth a little chaotic. If you can do that, you'll keep it close against Yeshiva and give yourself a chance to win later on.
Dovrat going to work inside. Now stops, and he'll get called for the travel as his momentum kind of took him past his 2 steps. We're going to get some subs coming in for Yeshiva. Max Zachheim, Zevi Samet taking a seat. Number 2, Joe Schanzer. Number 34, Nate Jacobs headed into the game for the Max.
Yeah, Schanzer and Jacobs, both just pure athletes. Guys who can run up and down the court against a smaller Knights team that's going to look to push the pace as we've seen the last couple minutes. That's a good adjustment by Coach Steinmetz to get those guys in.
As that pass was tipped, Yeshiva now in transition the other way. Dovrat leading the charge, takes it inside. What a play. As Liam Lynch went up, he was able to transfer hands and draw the foul.
Yeah, Tyler Dovrat, not a guy that I want to get in front of in transition. He's a big guy. Also athletic, as you see the Michael Jordan changing hands. Also looking like Yosef Silver out there. If you ever seen him play some pickup.
As the first one from Yair Dovrat was good. We have tonight's trivia question. Max Live trivia question. Who is the active leader among both of these teams? Who is the active leader in points in this matchup between Yeshiva and Mount St. Mary? So of all the players in this game, Mount St. Mary included, who has scored the most points against the other team? Tweet your answer, hashtag MaxLiveTrivia, as now it's Brendan Graham back in the game. Gives it up top for Monaco. Now it's Caleb Eller. And that pass poked away, but taken back by Mount St. Mary. JP Egan. Yeshiva working on a lot of double teams. As now it's Jeremino for three. Got it. Rob Jeremino bringing Mount St. Mary to within 4. This was a 10-0 game not too long ago. Mount St. Mary done a great job working their way back into this one. Nate Jacobs. Shanzer. Yair Dovrat. Inside to Oselka. Gets hacked. Goes up for Shanzer. Shanzer hits the 3. And Joe Shanzer gives the Max a 7-point lead. The Max have been quiet over the last couple minutes. Great response from Yeshiva.
Yeah, what happened on that play is they were able to get it inside to Yoav Oselka, which forces the Knights defense to collapse in to the paint, which leaves shooters open. Yeshiva's got to continue to look into the paint, try to get their bigs the ball, and they're all great facilitators, and you can get open threes. It's another good defensive possession as well, forcing a jump ball.
Yeah, great job as you see on the replay. Pass was tipped away. A lot of tip passes this game. And once the ball goes on the floor, it's anyone's guess. 20-17 Yeshiva lead. 11:49 to go in this one. It's going to be Caleb Eller inbounding for Mount St. Mary. As Rob Jeremino takes a seat. As it's Eller. Gives it inside to Matt Monaco. Egan. Now to Eller. Eller at the wing. Gives it down low. And shot clock violation. The Knights did not realize how much time was on the clock as Matt Monaco held it a little bit too long down low. And in response, shot clock violation, Yeshiva ball.
Yeah, now the Knights back into the press. I think they need to be a little more patient and not try to trap and pressure the ball right away because Yeshiva's got them by them pretty easily and can lead to open layups.
Joe Shanzer. Now Jacobs. Jacobs back in the lineup after missing a couple games. Joe Shanzer. Inside to Oselka. Great pass from Dotan and good work inside. Yoav Oselka gets the 2 for Yeshiva.
Yeah, and Yosef, something interesting with this Yeshiva lineup is no Samet, no Dovrat, and no Zachheim. Their top 3 playmakers and ball handlers out. We'll see how some of the younger guards, Shanzer and Jacobs, can lead this offense. That's going to be a 5-second violation. Some really good off-ball defense by Yeshiva, not letting the Knights get any passing lanes.
And of course you had Yoav Oselka up top with that long reach, not giving too many sight angles for the ball handler. Now it's Shanzer. Jacobs, Max break the press pretty easily. Shanzer. Now Jacobs. Oselka up top to Roy Itzkovich. Lots of movement inside for the Maccabees. Dotan. Jacobs, 6 on the shot clock. Jacobs gonna go up with it, got it. Nate Jacobs, tough take inside. Now an 11-point lead for Yeshiva. Justin Rivera getting pressured as Yeshiva brought the double team. Now it's Matt Walsh working on Roy. Rivera with the ball back. He's gonna try to work inside. Jacobs with the help defense. Now it's Rivera one-on-one, taken away by Oselka. Oselka powering through the Mount St. Mary players, goes up with the layup. They are not going to call the momentum for the shots. Instead, it's going to be on the floor. So Yeshiva's going to inbound baseline. No basket.
Yeah, and I thought they were hacking him the entire way. Maybe not. Maybe that reach happened as he was starting to gather, but either way. Inbounding the ball on the baseline. So refs are talking things through with the Mount St. Mary players. Inbounding the ball on the baseline. I think you look for a lob to Oselka maybe or Roy.
And you got Oselka. Now it's Roy. Max have a full shot clock here. No reason to rush. As it's Shanzer, picks up his dribble top of the key. Now Roy moving in baseline. Roy powering his way through, goes up, draws the foul. Great job by Roy Itzkovich powering through, as you can see on the replay. Fighting through, draws the foul from number 14, J.P. Egan. That's Egan's first, Mount St. Mary's fourth. And it's going to be Alex Kurievsky looking to check into the game for Yeshiva. And Oselka's going to take a seat, so maybe Coach Steinmetz taking advantage. As we were talking about earlier, Mount St. Mary, a little bit of a smaller team. He's got Dotan out of the game. Sorry, Dotan's in the game, but he's got Oselka on the bench, Dover out on the bench, letting some of the new guys maybe gel together.
Yeah, I think you've seen some of the success Oselka has had in the post, and that's somewhere where Kurievsky really excels. But there's a good steal by Shanzer going the other way, and he's going to lay it in.
Maybe could have even been and one.
Could have been an and one, but
Rivera came over in transition. But either way, 28-13, Yeshiva back out to a commanding 15-point lead. Their largest of the day, as that steal from Nate Jacobs came with a little bit of contact, which is going to send Justin Rivera to the line.
Yosef, you mentioned, a trend here. Some of the bench guys coming in, some of the younger guys getting some reps. I wonder if fan favorite Hillel Bainesh maybe comes into the game at some point. He put in a good shift the other day off the bench, got to give him some good minutes. So, you wonder if Coach Steinmetz tries to see what he has with him and if he could be a key player down the stretch on the bench for the Max.
So that's a three from Gemmel, too short, rebounded taken by Jacobs. Jacobs looking to push for YU. Alex Kurievsky, cross court. Didn't put enough on the pass as that was taken by Rob Jeremino. And it's going to be out of bounds, Maccabee's ball. As you can see on the replay.
Yeah, it was tough to see, but I thought Graham got hit in the face there. Could have been a foul. And the refs are talking through with Roy.
Lots of talking through the refs between
A lot
plays.
of talking. I think just asking them how their weekend's been, talking about the NFL playoffs.
And that pass double taken by Shanzer. Shanzer going up. And nice reverse under from Joe Shanzer. Another layup in transition as the Max now up 17 with 9 to go. And that's going to be a full timeout, which means we are going to send it to sideline reporter Chaim Stark standing by. Chaim, take it away.
Thanks, Yosef. All right, if you start to see the Knights get on a roll, look out for number 30, Jorge Jimenez. Jimenez is 27 years old, and he's had quite a journey to get to this point. Jimenez started off at community college, where he was there for 2 years. Afterwards, he had to leave and get a job to support his family. Now at 27 years old, he's come back to school. He joined the Knights basketball team, but he was only promised a bench role. He wasn't promised that he would get significant playing time. Despite that, he knows that next year he's going to get a chance. That's because the Knights are a team almost full of seniors, so they've got to get a team for next year. So Jimenez patiently waiting his turn on the bench for next year. That doesn't mean, however, he's not a part of this team. You'll see him pumping up his guys, getting into it, and giving real inspiration to his team. He's taking advantage of the opportunity, and he hopes to cash in next year. All right, Yosef, back to you.
Thank you for that, Chaim. And like you were saying, a very senior-heavy lineup for Mount St. Mary. Brendan Graham, a senior. Matt Walsh, a senior. Rob Jeremino, another senior. J.P. Egan. And then Soren Holmbo as well. So a lot of guys for Mount St. Mary will not be returning. We obviously know for Yeshiva, 8 seniors on this Yeshiva team, including a lot of the key contributors, Zevi, Max, Dotan, or Roy, Yoav. Sorry, Yoav is a junior. Hillel Bainesh, like we were talking about earlier, Tom Beza, and Ari Shklar. So going to be a lot of transition for these two teams headed into next season. But in terms of this game, a lot of transition buckets as well. But it's Rob Jeremino kicking it out. That's Rivera. Justin Rivera moving inside. Rivera bodies his way through, goes up, got it. Great job by Rivera. And it's Joe Schanzer. Coach Steinmetz looks to be putting in a hockey shift at the next whistle. As it's Kirievsky. Jacobs. Dotan Berditchev battling through inside. Cross court, too strong. As that pass is tipped away by Brendan Graham. Yeshiva's going to retain possession with 10 seconds on the clock. But now a 5-man substitution. As the new 5 for Yeshiva, it's going to be Zachheim, Samet, Dovrat, Oselka, and Johnny Dan coming in with the new headband for Yeshiva. 8:15 remaining, max up 15, 6 on the shot clock, 5, 4, pass is taken away, gets it back. Johnny Dan's gonna have to throw it up. Zachheim, Samet did not get it off in time, which probably works better for him, keeps those percentages intact. As Mount St. Mary gonna get the ball.
Yeah, and one guy I want to shout out who just came out of the game, Joe Schanzer, one of the younger players on this Max team, number 2. That's 7 points and 2 steals. His energy has been infectious to this Max team. I'm sure his plus-minus is in the double digits. So that that's going to come a long way with him earning rotation minutes down the stretch in the Skyline.
And Joe Schanzer, just a freshman, so definitely a lot of room to grow. As that's Rivera, throws it inside. Great vision by Rivera, as that's Daniel Hersner on the layup. Dovrat, now Zachheim. Samet back to Zachheim. Max. He's going to move in, kicks it out. Now Samet, 4-3. Back iron, no good. Both Samet and Zachheim fought for the rebound, couldn't handle it. Johnny Dan picks it up. Johnny Dan inside, no good, but he'll draw a foul and go to the line for 2. Great hustle play by Johnny Dan, picking up the ball and just going up with it.
Yeah, this was a good adjustment defensively by Coach K. He's brought the depth on the defense on the zone a little bit farther down. So you have 5 guys that are kind of packing inside the arc. So, you're allowing, maybe give and take, you're allowing some of these non-Zevi Samet shooters some threes, but you're also protecting the paint at a higher level, especially with Oselka back in the game. So that's just one of these small adjustments that you make as a coach that can come a long way for the Knights to come back.
And like we were saying, it's a good adjustment, as that defense in the beginning was definitely not working. But Coach Kadlubowski, definitely in the upper echelon of coaches in the Skyline, really knows what he's talking about. His guys always play hard, able to make the adjustment. Johnny Dan able to connect on both, returns the lead to 15 for Yeshiva. Justin Rivera working on Max. Now it's Hersner, pass tipped away. Picked up though, that's Lynch. And Rivera, 10 on the shot clock. Gets doubled by Dovrat. Now he's trapped up, timeout. Smart play by this junior guard, Justin Rivera. As Mount St. Mary gonna get the ball back with 5 seconds to go. It's gonna be a 30-second timeout, so don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this.
Hey Max fans, this is Joseph Gittler, YU class of 1996, founder and chairman of Lekket Israel. The skies are reopening, so come and volunteer with us in Israel as soon as you make it here. Please also consider supporting us as you think about your charity. And of course, go Max!
Welcome back into the Max Stern Athletic Center as the Yeshiva University Maccabees lead the Mount St. Mary Knights 32-17 with just over 7 minutes remaining in this one. Attention Max Live alumni, we're organizing a celebration to commemorate this season as the 25th season of Max Live. If you have ever worked as a member of Max Live, please email maxlivealumni@gmail.com with the years you worked with us and what role you had. And Yoav Oselka slams it home, 34-17. He said, I don't have time for 25 Max Live. We got to put some points on the board. But please email us maxlivealumni@gmail.com with the years you worked and what role you had. We will be in touch with more information. 34-17 now, Yeshiva lead. Pass is tipped by Samet, taken by Lynch. Liam Lynch drives through the lane like a ninja, goes up with it. And out of bounds off of Mount St. Mary, Dovrat to inbound.
Yeah, it was a tough take by Lynch right there, and the size of Oselka altered it. But Lynch is a guy I'd like to see get a little more involved offensively. We know he's talented. We know he can score, and he can create his own shot. So look for him to be a factor for the Knights as they try to close the gap.
And now headed into the game for Johnny Dan is number 1, Ari Shklar. Zevi Samet wide open in the corner for 3. Couldn't get enough on it as that rebound is taken. It's going to be
Can't imagine that
Marziotti.
Coach K is, as there's Lynch with the 3. Can't imagine Coach K is happy with 2 open Samet 3s in the last 2 possessions.
Samet now kicks to the corner. Zachheim in the same spot, going to drive baseline down low. And Oselka got blocked. Maybe thought there was a foul. As it's Ari Shklar. 15 seconds. Down low to Oselka. Back to Shklar. A lot of communication from Mount St. Mary as the ball is taken away. Now it's inside to Lynch. Lynch gets hacked by Shklar, and he'll go to the line for 2.
Yeah, it was a discombobulated Yeshiva possession, and one thing I would just say on that is Yoav Oselka should not be handling the ball down the top of the key. He's capable. You know, he's grown a lot as a playmaker, but he's a guy you just want parked in the paint against a team like this.
Yeah, and speaking of teams like this and their tough defense, we were talking about our Max Live trivia question earlier. Among current players, who leads all scorers in games between Yeshiva and Mount St. Mary? The correct answer is Max Zachheim, like you were saying earlier, known as a night killer.
Although today, not as much.
Yeah, Max Zachheim headed into this game, had 6-7 points in only 3 matchups. And it's especially impressive because these teams, you know, for all the seniors, they've played 5 games. You know, on both sides, Brendan Graham's played 5 games, Roy and Dotan. Roy's actually had some great performances as well, yet it's Max Zachheim with 67 points who leads the way. Absolutely bakes Mount St. Mary like some rugelach. Like, I don't know about you, I had some over Shabbos. They were great. As that's inside from Dovrat to Oselka, the Israeli connection. Gets it done for the Maccabees. Now 17-point lead taken by Shklar. Ari Shklar fighting for the ball. Pass gets tipped. Gets it back, though. And they're going to say it was out of bounds off of Ari Shklar. So with 5 minutes to go, 17-point game.
Yeah, a couple early turnovers for Sklar, but he's done a great job on the defensive end, forcing a turnover there. You know, he hasn't played as much this season, so he's trying to get up to speed, but he's someone that's actually pretty talented and I think can make an impact tonight for the Max.
And the pass out was tipped, but that's taken back in. Now it's inside, stolen by Zevi, stolen back by Egan. I think the ball changed possessions, changed hands maybe 4 or 5 times on that possession, but it ends in 2 points for Mount St. Mary. Matt Walsh maybe got hit. Zachheim, though, taking it down. Mag Zachheim inside to Oselka. And they're going to call a walk on Yoav Oselka. We can see on the replay if he moved before he dribbled. Or really passed it out.
Yeah, I think one thing that happened there is on the bounce pass that they made into Oselka, the Knights defenders converged on him and double-teamed him. He wasn't expecting it, so he got caught up. I think that's something that you can continue to do, is send those double teams to Oselka to force him to travel or turn the ball over.
Lynch stopped on a dime, blocked by Dovrat, tried to get it over to Marziotti. And Max Zachheim able to tip that pass out of bounds. Coach Kalabowski going back to his starting backcourt with Rivera and Graham headed in. Lynch and Marziotti to take a seat.
Yeah, I think you're seeing a little bit of a chaotic couple of minutes, some turnovers, and errant passes, so putting in some of his leading guards is a smart move.
And Graham got Sklar to fly, drove baseline, couldn't get it. Pass was tipped out by Zachheim, going to remain Mount St. Mary ball, 18 on the shot clock. .403 remaining in this one, as it's Graham to inbound, gives it to Walsh in the corner. Gives it inside to Egan. Egan turns around baseline, Jay. No good. Rebounded by Max Zachheim. Zachheim taking it down. Dovrat. Larry Dovrat fighting through some aggressive defense. Samet. Dovrat. Dovrat going to work his way in. Now gives inside to Yoav Oselka. And that Israeli connection once again as Yair Dovrat now up to 3 assists on the day.
Oselka is just such a smart player. He knows exactly where to be on the court, off the ball, just kind of hanging around. making himself as small as possible, which is hard to do when you're 6'8", and then, last second converging, getting open, and making himself a target for his teammates. He's got 10 tonight.
Pass was no good. Now it's Rivera for 3. Rims around and out. Zachary going to push for Yeshiva. Inside to Oselka, and Oselka gets hacked in transition. He'll head to the line for 2. And we were talking about the Israeli connection between Dovid and Oselka, but Zachary reminding us that he also is part of that Israeli or non-Israeli connection.
Yeah, Zachary, I know he hasn't really gotten it done in the scoring department this year, but just such a calm, steady presence for this Max team as he's been over the past 4 years. Even if his shot is not going, which, knowing him, he's working day in, day out, it will get going at some point. Still just such a positive for this Max lineup, just bringing in some more ball handling and stability.
Yeah, and that's kind of, what goes into being a senior, especially a guy like Max, so, calm and even-keeled and mature, that he's able to say, hey, I got Zevi, I got Yair Dovrat, I got Oselka inside. Maybe my first job is not to score. He focuses on defense and pressure and ball handling and playmaking. And that's really how he's made his impact this year. As, like we've been saying tonight, lots of communication between the officials.
Yeah, and I think the emergence of Yair Dovrat has really had a lot to do with that, just adding another, uber talented guard ball handler to this lineup has changed Max's role a little bit. He's embraced it and he's done a really good job, and he'll continue to improve down the stretch.
As Rivera almost got it stolen by Shanzer. Rivera moves his way inside. Couldn't get it. Now it's Oselka slowing down. Sam at top of the key. Now Oselka finds the open lane, goes up, and he gets hacked from behind by J.P. Egan. So Oselka right back to the line for 2.
Yeah, not sure Egan agrees with the call. We'll look at the replay here. I thought he might have got an all ball on that. And it looks that way from the replay. I think because he came from behind, they probably thought it was a foul. Maybe looked one way. But nevertheless, Oselka in the line for a couple free throws.
Roy Itzkovich headed into the game for Yeshiva, and for Mount St. Mary, Matthew Shapunas headed into the game.
And number 0, Tom Beza, coming into the game for the Max. He's a guy that really put in some good work last year. Just a lot of energy, really good defender, can shoot. And you see him going to work right now against number 1, Brandon Graham.
And that's Jeremino. Walsh moving in on Zevi. Goes up against Zevi and draws the foul and 1 from Matthew Walsh. He'll head to the line for 2.
Yeah, it's a really nice take. Caught Zevi on his back hip, sent him flying a little bit, and then finished through to contact. That's textbook right there.
As Dotan checks into the game for Yoav Oselka. And Matt Walsh gets it to go. 40-24, just under 2.5 remaining. As Roy Itzkovich takes down the ball for Yeshiva. Samet. Now Dotan Bardichev. Down low to Roy. Dotan. Now Zevi. Shanzer. Good ball movement here from the Maccabees. 8 seconds. 6 on the shot clock. That's a 3 from Dotan. Back iron. Taken away by Rivera. Matt Walsh moving down. Throws it over inside to Shupenis. And it's going to be Maccabees' ball.
And I wonder if Shupenis gets a little more run here. He's standing at 6'8". He's easily the biggest guy on this Mount St. Mary team. So he can be another adjustment against a taller Yeshiva team. There's a good finish right there by Walsh. He's starting to pick it up.
Yeah, Matthew Walsh, senior leader for these guys. And now it's Samet. High post to Beza. Corner for Shanzer. Couldn't get the 3. Rebound tried to take in by Dotan, but it ends up going out to Zevi. Samet. Now Itzkovich. Itzkovich moving in on Walsh. Gets doubled. Got to throw it out. Gives it to Beza. Now Samet. Samet going to work inside. Takes the layup. No good. And Beza with the rebound. Now it's Samet. Tried a quick corner 3. Couldn't get it. And Roy Itzkovich is going to get fouled on that attempt. He'll head to the line.
Yeah, one player I'm surprised we haven't seen more of at the end of this first half is number 20, Connor Gemmel. Talked about him in the pregame. He's got 2 fouls, so I guess you can look at it from that perspective if you don't want him to get into foul trouble. But I would say anything under 3, especially when you need him that much, you probably want him in the game. But that's an interesting decision from Coach K. I think can go either way.
Yeah, maybe trying to save him for the second half. Trying to supplement the size with guys like Shapenis and Egan.
Yeah, but at the same time, you want to keep it close in the interim, and they've really got to kill it in paint. I mean, that's been the story of the half.
And now it's Brendan Graham. Throws across court, picked up by Walsh. Under 1 minute remaining. As it looks like they're going to get it. Off-ball foul on Dotan Bardachev. That'll be his first, team 4th. 47.8 remaining. 20 seconds on the shot clock for Mount St. Mary. As it looks like it's going to be Brendan Graham to inbound. That turnaround from Shapenis no good. Joe Schanzer slowing it down for the Maccabees. Chance to go 2 for 1 here, but it looks like they won't take that opportunity. Schanzer at the wing. Now Dotan. Back up to Schanzer. Bardachev. Gives it into Dovrat. Dovrat to the corner for Itzkovich. 10 on the shot clock. Dovrat working his way in. Tries to go up with it. Now it's Schanzer for the 3. Front iron. Rebounded by Mount St. Mary. 13 on the clock. 10 seconds. Rivera patiently taking it down. He's going to take the screen from Shapenis. Now he gets trapped. Taken by Schanzer. 4 seconds. 3, 2. Dovrat up. And that's in as that'll end the half. 43-27 as the Macs have put together one of their better halves this season. Now a 17-point lead headed into the locker room. Don't go anywhere. We will be right back with the Lekid Israel halftime show when we come back after this.
They're very clever in Disney. The last step is all of these treats, candies and chocolates and whatever. And my kids get all excited, right? And they want, like the chocolate bar, and each one grabs something, whatever. You're right near the cash register. And, can we get a chocolate bar? Can we get this? Like, okay, this isn't so expensive, right? So, of course, I look at them. They're all treif. None of them are kosher. So I said, no, they're not kosher. So the kids, sadly, they put them all back, and we walk out. And we're walking out past the cash register, and this girl behind the I still remember her face. She's looking at me. She's got this look of stupefied amazement on her face. She says, what did you do? I said, what are you talking about? I thought maybe I did something. She said, I see this script every day. Parents come out. They've got their kids. The kids grab the treats. The parents don't want to buy anymore, but the kids whine and scream, and the parents just, let's just get out of here, and they buy them the chocolate. And you just said something to them, they put them all back. So I said to her, oh, well, we're religious Jews, whatever that means. And I told them it's not kosher, like we're not allowed to eat it. So they put it back. But I thought about this afterwards. That mitzvah of keeping kosher teaches our children so many valuable lessons. One of them is boundaries, self-control, willpower. You don't get everything you want, right? All wrapped up in that mitzvah that a 5-year-old gets in Judaism at the end of a day.
We made it.
And the best way we can have a greater understanding of how significant having the state of Israel is to come visit.
I love Israel right now. I ain't gonna lie. I would love to stay here.
Max Live, Yeshiva University men's basketball on JBS, is made possible in part by Janet and Lior Hod and family, in memory of Moshe Kranzler and Dov Saba Hod, Zichronam Livracha, both of whom loved the Max.
Now, they're very clever in Disney. The last step is all of these treats, candies and chocolates and whatever. And my kids get all excited, right? And they want, like the chocolate bar, and each one grabs something, whatever. You're right near the cash register. And, can we get a chocolate bar? Can we get this? Like, okay, this isn't so expensive, right? So, of course, I look at them. They're all treif. None of them are kosher. So I said, no, they're not kosher. So the kids, sadly, they put them all back, and we walk out. And we're walking out past the cash register, and this girl behind the cash, I still remember her face. She's looking at me. She's got this look of stupefied amazement on her face. She says, what did you do? I said, what are you talking about? I thought maybe I did something. She said, I see this script every day. Parents come out. They've got their kids. The kids grab the treats. The parents don't want to buy anymore, but the kids whine and scream, and the parents just, let's just get out of here, and they buy them the chocolate. And you just said something to them, they put them all back. So I said to her, oh, well, we're religious Jews, whatever that means. And I told them it's not kosher, like we're not allowed to eat it. So they put it back. But I thought about this afterwards. That mitzvah of keeping kosher teaches our children so many valuable lessons. One of them is boundaries, self-control, willpower. You don't get everything you want, right? All wrapped up in that mitzvah that a 5-year-old gets in Judaism at the end of a day.
Jewish Insights with Justin Pines, Tuesdays at 8 p.m. on JBS.
Hey Max fans, this is Joseph Gittler, YU class of 1996, founder and chairman of Lekket Israel. The skies are reopening, so come and volunteer with us in Israel as soon as you make it here. Please also consider supporting us as you think about your charity. And of course, go Max!
Max Live, Yeshiva University men's basketball on JBS, is made possible in part by Janet and Lior Hod and family, in memory of Moshe Kranzler and Dov Saba Hod, Zichronam Livracha, both of whom loved the Max.
Defending Israel with David Harris, Wednesdays at 7 p.m. on JBS.
In the Spotlight with Abigail Pogrebin, Mondays at 8 on JBS.
We made it.
In the best way we can have a greater understanding of how significant having the state of Israel is to come visit.
Gonna love Israel right now. I ain't gonna lie. I would love to stay here.
Max Live, Yeshiva University men's basketball on JBS, is made possible in part by Janet and Lior Hod and family, in memory of Moshe Kranzler and Dov Saba Hod, Zichronam Livracha, both of whom loved the Max.
Welcome back into the Max Stern Athletic Center as the Yeshiva University Maccabees are ahead of the Mount St. Mary Knights by a score of 43-26. We'd like to give a huge thank you to JBS, the Jewish Broadcasting Service, for broadcasting tonight's game nationally. JBS is dedicated to strengthening Jewish identity and education through their 24/7 programming. JBS is an incredible platform for sharing these games, and we're so grateful to the support of the Hode family for making this season's television broadcast possible. Stay tuned as we bring the max energy to your screens, coast to coast. Now it's time to get into tonight's Lekket Israel halftime stats, which are brought to you by Lekket Israel. Lekket Israel, rescuing nutritious surplus food for Israelis in need. Avery, what do you got for us?
Yeah, we talked about before the game how important the battle and the paint was for the Max, just how much more size they have over the Knights, and they'd absolutely executed on that. They got 22 points in the paint, and for reference, the Knights only have 12. Yeshiva also shooting 50% from the field versus the Knights shooting 35%. And a big reason for that isn't just that they're better shooters, it's that their shots are easier. They're in the paint, they're layups, and that's really what Yeshiva is leaning in on. So I think if they just continue to do that, they continue to work the ball into Oselka, into Yair Dobra, into Roy, and pound the offensive rebounds, I think they'll be in good shape. Started off, I thought we were going to be talking about turnovers because Mount St. Mary started off with 8 in the first few minutes of the game, but they've really settled in. They're taking care of the ball a little better now. They're valuing possessions, which is going to allow them to come back into the game. I just think, again, it's about, maybe throwing in a press, forcing some turnovers for Mount St. Mary, trying to create some chaos. And if you can, maybe get the lead down to about 10 with 10 minutes left, you give yourself a chance. So the first few minutes of the half are going to be crucial for the Knights to come back.
Yeah, and it's, a famous saying from coaches that, it's not going to be a one-shot difference. You're not going to hit a shot and all of a sudden it's a tie game. You got to work away at the lead slowly, and I'm sure that's something that Mount St. Mary and Coach Kedlabowski are telling their guys. I'd like to give a shout out to assistant coach for Mount St. Mary, Jaden Rocca, Mount St. Mary legend, played many battles against Yeshiva, and the old assistant coach, I was talking to Coach Kedlabowski about a pregame. The old assistant coach left very close to the season. He's now at Gettysburg. And Coach Kedlabowski knew he could call Jaden to come on, join his staff. I'd like to give a shout out to him and all the memorable battles that he had as a Mount St. Mary Knight against this Yeshiva team.
Yeah, I think it's pretty cool. You also have D. Markovich, Yeshiva legend. Also had played in this game many times. He's on the Yeshiva sideline, so I think it just shows both these coaches, they value the relationship with their players and their alumni. And both coaches got one of them on the sideline with them for another Yeshiva versus Knights battle.
And as Paul goes back in, once again, 43-26, Yeshiva lead. Max Zackheim, now it's Dovrot up top. Now it's Zevi Samet. Dovrot 4-3, no good. Max Zackheim aggressive with the rebound, but couldn't handle it. Now taken by Mount St. Mary. Brendan Graham looking to spark something for the Knights. Justin Rivera. Now it's Egan. Egan pulls up for 3. A little bit deep back iron, no good. Zevi Samet going to push in transition, now slows it down. Samet gives it for Dovrot. Roy Itzkovich going to take it baseline, now kicks it to Zackheim. Max Zackheim 4-3. Couldn't get it. Rebounded by Matt Walsh. Now it's Rivera. Bounce pass down low to Egan. Up top for Gemmel. Back into the game with 2 fouls. Connor Gemmel gives it to Rivera. 11 seconds on the shot clock. Cross court to Graham. Inside to a wide open Connor Gemmel. And that's too easy for Mount St. Mary. Zevi Samet taking it transition the other way. Gets absolutely leveled by Connor Gemmel. No call from the officials. And when Zevi lost the handle on it, it's going to be Mount St. Mary ball. Official was in a pretty good spot to call that. I don't even think Gemmel would argue.
Yeah, I think what happened there is he saw the ball going out of bounds and he was getting ready to go to the out of bounds call. Didn't realize that Zevi Samet got trucked. We're playing basketball here, not football. That should have been a foul.
As now it's Justin Rivera. Matthew Walsh. Graham tried to go for 3, lost the handle. And that's going to be a backcourt violation on Brendan Graham.
So, partner, one thing to look for with this Knights defense right now is they're in a 3-2. But they're playing, as we mentioned in the first half, a little farther back. The one exception is Zevi Samet. Whenever Zevi Samet gets the ball, wherever he is, even if it's a few feet behind the line, they're running up, they're guarding him, And that's exactly what I like to do when I coach against really good players, is if you have a guy who can shoot from anywhere, you bring your defense up, and the non-shooters, you let them shoot. You live with them making shots.
As that pass is poked away by Rivera. Rivera in transition gets fouled on the layup. He'll go to the line for 2. Like you were talking, big shout out to Coach Oz in the TABC squad. Shout out to Max Live alumni Oren Glickman. We had him for an interview a little bit earlier this year. He's the athletic director. And you can just see in transition, Rivera able to get his hand on it and it flew down the other way.
Yeah, you talk about Oren Glickman, also a Max Live legend.
Some might say the OG Max Live.
OG, I see what you did there. He's a guy I try to model my my game after in this booth. I'll never be as good as him, but I always can try to strive to reach him. Shout out OG.
Second one from Rivera, no good. Still a 15-point lead for the Maccabees. As we've now crossed over 2 minutes into the second half. And now good passing from Yeshiva, gets it down low to Oselka, and Yoav Oselka once again finishing from close. 45-28, Maccabees up, 2.5 minutes gone by. JP Egan pulls up for 3, and JP Egan with a great response for the Knights. Lead down to 14. Dovrat cross court to Zachheim. Zachheim stops floater, no good. Rebounded by Connor Gemmel. Matthew Walsh, now Rivera. Justin Rivera down low in the corner for Walsh. Matthew Walsh going to move inside, gets past Zevi with the layup, got it. Great job by Matthew Walsh. Doing some work down low, moving past his defender. 12-point lead for Yeshiva. Roy Itzkovich. Now it's Dovrat. Inside to Oselka, now Zevi. Samet puts it up, and Samet gets it to go. Zevi Samet extends the max lead to 14.
Yeah, and it gets the zone. It all starts with that initial pass into the high post.
And the pass is picked by Oselka, taken the other way by Samet. Now it's Roy Itzkovich. And when he drives, that's going to be a foul on Brendan Graham. That'll be the second team foul for Mount St. Mary, second personal for Graham as well.
Yeah, and you see the crack starting to get a little wider here for Mount St. Mary's offense. I think they're just getting a little overwhelmed by the constant trapping and ball pressure from the bigger Yeshiva lineup. They really got to be careful right now. It might be time to go into your bench like you did in the first half. Maybe bring a guy like Liam Lynch in, which they're doing right now on cue, just to give some fresher bodies a chance to take care of the ball, value possessions, give yourself a chance to score.
Yeah, Graham and Gemmel to the bench. Jeremino and Liam Lynch onto the floor. And for the Maccabees, Joe Shanzer and Dotan Bardichev headed into this game. Zevi Samet and Roy Itzkovich taking a seat. Liam Lynch. Pass is taken away by Shanzer. Joe Shanzer in transition, goes up for the layup, and good from Joe Shanzer. He's been electric in transition. Now up to 8-9 points on the day. He's really made an impact. Liam Lynch gonna work his way inside, now gives it out to Jeremino. Rivera gets double teamed. Aggressive defense from Dotan. Now Zachheim.
Yeah, Coach K feels like there's a lot of hand checking. He's talking to the ref about it.
Now it's Dovrat. Connor Gemmel couldn't, that's Rob Jeremino, couldn't get the turnaround. Jay, that's going to be out of bounds off of Yeshiva, as there was a miscommunication on the rebound. As both Yair Dovrat and Dotan Bardichev went for that ball. And now the double on Rivera creates open space for Rob Jeremino. And Jeremino hits the 3, now a 15-point lead
Yeah,
for
it's a
Yeshiva.
beautiful play call by Coach K.
Dovrat. Now Shanzer gets bumped. Dotan. Now inside. Yair Dovrat dribbling it out, and it's going to be off of Yair Dovrat. Dovid doesn't like it. Dovid thinks it's off of Justin Rivera. Wonder if we get a challenge from either one of the coaches here, as I believe the official call on the floor is Mount St. Mary basketball.
And you just wonder what the conversation is. Oh, it might have been that push after by Rivera. It's been a physical game for Rivera. They're really pushing him around on those ball screens. And Rivera may be a little upset after that one. Gives a little shove back to Dovid, and now there's a lot of chirping and conversations from the players and the refs. And I think they're going to talk it over and try to sort things through. Yeah, partner, I just think it's important right now. If you're Yeshiva, you're up by 15. Things are going well for you right now. Try to keep your composure. Obviously, you don't want to bring back memories from the Illinois Wesleyan game where, some hot-headedness cost them. But I think right now you call timeout, you calm things down, and then you keep on playing after that.
Yeah, both coaches very experienced, like we said. Coach Kadlubowski now in his 16th season, officially now the 17th calendar year as the head coach of Mount St. Mary. Coach Elliott Steinmetz now up to 12 years for Yeshiva. Just settling their guys. Lots of, like you were saying, chippy both ways. It's been an aggressive game back and forth.
Now, on to some tactical parts of this game. For Mount St. Mary, coming off those screens, we've seen Yeshiva just double them over and over again and trap them, try to get turnovers. We saw in the last inbounds play, I said it was a great play call because they did the dribble handoff to Rivera, and usually on the dribble handoffs, Yeshiva's trapping. So Jeremino immediately pops out and gets an open three. So I think that's something that Mount St. Mary can exploit, is have your guys who are setting the screens or giving the dribble handoffs pop out, you hit that quick pass, and then you're playing with an advantage. You have a 4-on-3, right? Because now you have two guys committed to the guy who just passed the ball. So I think that's one adjustment that Coach K can maybe make right now. And it looks like things have been sorted out. Some of the players headed back to the bench. They're going to look things over again.
Yeah, I believe we're getting an official challenge from Coach Elliott Steinmetz, as it looks like the head referee is going to put on the headset and take a look. We'd like to give a shout out to our executive director, Eitan Traurig, who spearheads this the instant replay operation on our end. Also a shout out to executive producer Dovid Samson, just making sure things are working smoothly.
Shout out Jarrett Lazarus for no reason. Just want to shout him out. Does a lot of good work behind the scenes.
Shout out Judy Gerber, super fan for the Maccabees. We'd like to give a big mazel tov to assistant coach A.B. Rosso on his wedding this past week. Mazel tov to Coach A.B. Shout out to Ellie and Moshe Ruchelsman for watching the game. Shout out Grandpa and anyone else.
And shout out to all of you who are watching right now.
Big shout out.
Good game on our hands. It's 15 points, but it feels like Mount St. Mary's kind of hung in there. We thought, at the beginning, Yeshiva came out to a good start. Maybe this is going to be a blowout. You have a team that's been on the upper echelon of the Sideline Conference versus a team that's coming off a rough season, is in the midst of one. As the Knights are 0-3 in the Sideline, 2-10 on the season. Yeshiva 4-0 in the Sideline, 5-7 on the season. Former champions at the Sideline Conference. But credit to the Knights, they've hung around, they've kept things close. And within 15 points, we said if they can get to 10 with 10 minutes left, they'd be in striking distance. So see if they can make things happen over the next 5 minutes.
Yeah, and talking to Coach Steinmetz before the game, as I believe the result of the replay is that Mount St. Mary will retain the ball. But talking to Coach Steinmetz pregame, he said we've had a lot of these where we've, gone up by 10 or 15 points, and then they bring it back to 5. And we go up by 10 or 15 again, and they pull it back in. What he was looking for from his guys was to extend that lead to, 25 or 30. So we don't have to have 3 different 15-point leads. You just have one big lead, and you're able to maintain it. As it's going to be Lynch to inbound baseline. Over 5 minutes gone by here in the second half. Jeremino. Now Lynch. Lynch moving in. Now gives it into the corner. That's Hersner. No good on the 3. Rebounded by Zachary, who takes it down. Joe Schanzer. Interesting, the 2 point guards for YU. Schanzer and Zachheim sharing the floor. Max. Knights back into their 3-2 matchup. High post to Dovid. Now it's Oselka. Great ball movement here from Yeshiva. 8 seconds on the clock. Dovid pulls for 3. Got it from Yair Dovid. The freshman sensation strikes again. 54-36, Maccabees lead. That pass is tipped. Schanzer forward to Dovid. Yair Dovid goes up with it, and he gets fouled, and he'll go to the line for 2.
That's yet again Joe Schanzer. Dovid was the guy who stole the ball. Schanzer came up with it. It was good hustle by Schanzer to get there. Both those guys, Dovid and Schanzer, have really been the story of the game today. Dovid with 12 points, 5 assists, now 13 points. Schanzer is really active on the defensive end. Oselka also has 5 steals, 14 points as we get a timeout.
And with that timeout, we're going to send it to our sideline reporter, Chaim Stark, standing by. Chaim, take it away.
One guy that you won't see on the bench of the Knights, as opposed to Jorge Jimenez, is A.J. Pedra. Now, last season, Pedra was a senior, and the thought was that he would come back and pursue a master's degree in criminology. As it turned out, before the school year ended, Pedra received what he called his dream job offer from a firm. He said he had to accept the job and didn't return the following year to Mount St. Mary. So you will not see him on the bench, however. All right, Yosef, back to you. That's all I've got.
Thank you, Chaim, for that. A.J. Pedra averaged 10 minutes off the bench for Mount St. Mary last year after transferring in. Real shooter and a slasher for them. Averaged 3.5 points and a rebound and almost an assist across those 10 minutes. And, sometimes life can get in the way of basketball. He really got a great opportunity, and it's hard to say no when those opportunities come you by. 14:05 remaining. Yeshiva now up 19 on Mount St. Mary. Yair Dovid at the line, coming off a full timeout from Mount St. Mary and Coach Kadlubowski. Yair Dovid hits the layup. Hits the free throw. And Roy Itzkovich going to check in for Dovid. So now Yeshiva up to 20 points. That's their biggest lead of the day.
And Yosef back into this lineup without Samit, Zachheim, and Dovid. So you wonder if the Knights ratchet up the ball pressure, as there's a good take inside by Jeremino. You see on cue, they're starting to press. Without the ball handlers on the court, you can maybe force some good steals. That's going to be a foul by Hersner around half court. It was a little over-aggressive off the ball, but this is exactly the time where if you're Coach K, you tell your guys to attack. This is the moment where you can make a run without the ball handling on the court. You can get some steals, get some fast break opportunities, and push the pace.
And Jacobs will inbound it to Joe Schanzer. Schanzer got the ball. They come out to defend him. Itzkovich. Schanzer. Max moving the ball around the outside. Now it's Nate Jacobs going to pull for 3. And Nate Jacobs with his first couple points in a while. Been more than a fortnight since he was able to get some buckets in. And he's making his impact. As maybe a travel by Liam Lynch. Now a 3 from Jeremino. That's no good. Going to repeat Maccabees basketball. And it's interesting. We were talking before about Coach Steinmetz putting in both of his point guards, Zachheim and Schanzer. And we see on the other end from Coach Kadlubowski, he's got his 2 big men in Jeremino and Connor Gemmel. Schanzer, Dotan. Bardachev going to move to the top, now gives it to Schanzer. Back to Dotan. Bardachev inside to Oselka. And once again, another Israeli connection as Oselka ninja'd through the defense and found the open space. And that's going to be Walsh on the drive. He gets hacked by Jacobs. Rightfully going to get called for the foul. That'll send Walsh to the line for 2. That's going to be on the baseline for Walsh.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the official saw there. It looked like, I guess maybe he saw the hands on him, but he really grabbed a handful of the Knights player, Walsh, when he was going up for the layup, so it should have been 2 shots.
And that's a 3 from Jeremino. Back iron. Who's got it? Matt Walsh. Going up, and Matt Walsh again on a drive gets fouled. He'll go to the line for 2 this time. And I think on that last call, you know, it could have gone either way because he was basically hacking him the whole time. It's really just whatever the ref called it on. But Matt Walsh, fighting for that offensive rebound, turns around, takes it to the hoop. And we're going to get Ben Lazary headed into the game for Yeshiva after this free throw from Walsh, which was a little bit short. So Egan and Lazary into the game for their respective teams.
Yeah, it's going to be fun to watch. Ben Lazary, one of the more pure talented guys on this Max team. The younger player is going to get his opportunity. I'm excited to see what he can do.
Yeah, you see him flying around pregame, slamming home dunks, so we may see one of those. But really just a tall, lanky athlete. As that pass is stolen by Egan, he pulls up and gets the 2. 3 points for JP Egan. And now Itzkovich getting trapped. Shanzer, Dotan over half court. Oselka slows it down. Roy with a head full of steam slams it in. Roy Itzkovich absolutely baked the defense like a Rugelach, twisting and turning his way inside. Just took the open lane. Brendan Graham getting trapped by the Max defense, throws it on to Walsh. Ball was tipped by Oselka. Walsh picks it up, going to move in, loses a handle, and it's going to be Maccabees basketball. 22-point lead now for Yeshiva, 11:45 to go. Ben Lazary. Now Shanzer, him and Lazary going back and forth with this Mount St. Mary press. Now it's tipped away. Now Egan on the layup. JP Egan returns the lead to 20. As the Maccabees in general struggling a little bit with this press. Now Lazary with the ball over half court. Back up top to Bardichev. And Matthew Walsh a little bit handsy on defense. He'll get called for a foul. That'll be Mount St. Mary's 4th. Walsh's 2nd.
Yeah, and I'd like to see Dotan get some more touches around the high post area. He's such a good passer, and if he can get the ball there, just opens up the floor for him and his passing ability.
Shanzer, 3, bottom. Joe Shanzer, he's been the star for the Maccabees tonight, coming off the bench. He's now up to, I believe, 12 points on the day.
Yeah, and we know Joe Shanzer is a really talented player, and he's a guy that was always going to be part of this Yeshiva rotation and story for this season. It's also the little things he's done. As there's a steal there by Roy.
We're going to get another dunk from Roy as he moves inside. Loses the ball, gets it back, gets hacked, no call, puts it back up, and gets it to go. Tough take from Roy Itzkovich, and now a 25-point lead for Yeshiva as we cross the halfway mark.
Yeah, it's what we're talking about. It's the little things. Roy's doing it too, and that's what's made him so good over the years, is deflecting passes, hustling, rebounding. If you can do that, you'll play for my team anytime. And Coach Steinmetz just trusting them as we got some subs coming into the game.
Yeah, we talked about Yeshiva changing the backcourt. Now they're going to change a little bit of the front court as Alex Kurievsky and Noam Edry checking into the game for YU. Oselka and Itzkovich taking a seat. Noam Edry's last action was in this gym. It was about a fortnight ago against Illinois Wesleyan. He actually played pretty well as that's a 3 from Bardichev. Front iron rebound Kurievsky. And they're going to call an off-ball foul on the Maccabees. That's going to go on Alex. That'll be his first. But Edry really showed out in that game against Illinois Wesleyan. Did a great job, especially with their big man Noah Cleveland. And hoping to take some of that momentum into this game. As Graham waving away the screen. Going to take Shanzer inside. Cross court, taken away by Lazary. And Ben Lazary falls down. That's going to be an unfortunate travel, I believe, on Ben Lazary.
It's been interesting with this Mount St. Mary offense. We haven't seen as much of Justin Rivera, number 3, handling the ball. It's been a lot more some of the other players, Graham and Walsh maybe. And I think they've had more success with Rivera as he's able to navigate some of these traps. So I think it'd be wise to get him back on ball.
That's a 3 from Graham. No good. He's been quiet for Mount St. Mary tonight. Ben Lazary, now Sklar. Ari Sklar Up top, Shanzer. Now Edry. Noam Edry. Gives it back to Shanzer with 10 to go. Inside to Edry. Edry puts it up, and that's good from Noam Edry. Edry making an immediate impact as he heads into this one. 70-43. Maccabees now up 27. And that's Egan. Egan with the wide open three. Couldn't get it. Joe Shanzer for the Maccabees. Edry moves into the high post. Rivera comes out to defend Shanzer. Now it's Ari Shklar. Graham tried to get aggressive on defense. Wide open Edry down low. Noam Edry making him pay. 4 straight points for Noam Edry.
Yeah, what a pass by Ari Shklar. Looking the complete opposite way where the ball went. Get a little crafty there, trying to get on the highlight tape after the game.
As now it's Walsh. Another 3 from Mount St. Mary. Once again, no good. Ben Lazary going to take it in transition. Going to move in on Rivera. Tries the floater, no good, but that's going to be a foul on the guard, Justin Rivera, as he's really put it all out there tonight for these Mount St. Mary Knights.
And it looks like it's actually going to be a charge. Rivera beat it from the spot. We'll see on the replay. Yeah, he got set in time. It's a very nice play by the senior guard, the junior guard, pardon me. Even in a 30-point game, putting your body on the line, I think that goes a long way to inspiring your teammates and keeping things going the rest of the year.
And that was a great job by Rivera making his way through the defense, getting that cross-court pass, but it was out of bounds off Mount St. Mary. So it's going to be Yeshiva basketball, Ben Lazary to inbound in the corner. Mount St. Mary brings 3 in the backcourt. Great job by Edry to move up after Shklar called it out. Shanzer found him. And the Macs have the ball now in the half court. Pretty handsy defense and handsy offense. And the number 2 battle between Joe Shanzer and Matthew Walsh. Foul's going to go on Shanzer. Mount St. Mary up to 5 fouls.
Yeah, not sure about that one. I mean, it's been a physical game all game long, so to call a little hand grab on that is a little inconsistent, but I guess doesn't make that much of a difference once it's a 29-point game.
I mean, Avery, these are your buddies. You should talk to them, as that's once again another down low play by Noam Edry, just doing a great job to find the space behind this Mount St. Mary defense. And you were talking about playing a high line for Mount St. Mary, but that's one of the downsides, that then down low you may be a little short-handed. As it's Egan up top. Now it's Rivera. Rivera working off Monaco. Throws it off of Shklar's foot. And we have a correct kickball call in the Max Stern Athletic Center as that ball went off of Ari Shklar's foot.
Yeah, and all the Yeshiva fans listening to this just collectively got a little mad when he said that. Of course, we're referencing the Illinois Wesleyan ending where a questionable kickball came into place.
And now to inbound from Mount St. Mary was Marziotti, who came into the game. Pass was taken away. Now it's Shanzer. He's got numbers if he wants them, and he'll slow it down. Edry cross court. Shklar. Ari Shklar fighting his way through the defense. Edry tried to get it inside for Kuryevsky, but the pass was tipped. Taken by Monaco. Now forward to Marziotti. J.P. Egan with the 3. And J.P. Egan connects from deep. J.P. Egan now up to 14 points on the day. That's his second 3 of the night. Joe Shanzer, as Tom Bezel looks to check into this one. Shanzer going to slow it down for Yeshiva. Up 28, the clock is now your enemy, as that's taken away by Hersner. Daniel Hersner tried to spin around, lost the handle. Now it's Shanzer in transition the other way. Gives it forward to Lazary. Ben Lazary flies in with the layup. Ben Lazary now a 30-point lead for Yeshiva. Liam Lynch for the Knights. And the pass picked up by Lazary. Now Shklar in transition. Shklar on the layup. Ari Shklar getting his first points of the night. And it's good to see some of the guys at the end of the bench that maybe you don't see on camera, but they do so much for the team, whether it be in practice or hyping up the guys. Zevi Samit had Ari Shklar on his podcast, Beyond the Court podcast, and he mentioned that Ari Sklar, of all the players, maybe the one who cares the most about winning, about doing whatever he can to encourage the team, whether that's on or off the court, practice, on the bench. And just great to see him get rewarded with some points. As now Tom Waldman and Tom Beza going to check into the game for Yeshiva, as well as Nate Jacobs, Sklar, Kirievsky, and Schanzer taking a seat.
Yeah, and one thing you see, or at least I see, as there's a shot by Lynch, it doesn't go. As a student at Yeshiva University, I'm constantly coming to the gym as a basketball player myself, not Division III level, but I play.
Really D2 level, but he came here for the academics.
It could be the MBA, but that's a different conversation. But I come to this gym often, try to just get some shots up, maybe play some pickup. But oftentimes I see these max players, some of the guys on the bench, really putting in the work. They got the shooting machine, they're putting up shots, hundreds of threes a day. And it's the same guys every day. You see Sklar, you see Waldman, you see Beza, you see all these guys just constantly here. And, you look at this Yeshiva team, and it's all Samet and Zachary, and it's Osalka, and those are the guys you think of, but it's not just them. It's this whole team. It's a collective effort that you mentioned before. And I think that shows why they're a top team at the Sideline. And the fan favorite coming to the game, number 24, Hillel Bainesh himself. We'll see what he can do.
And now it's Beza. Inside, the pass is tipped. Soren Holmbo taking it from Mount St. Mary. Soren Holmbo going to move inside, goes up on Beza, and gets the layup. And we were talking to Coach Kadlubowski. He mentioned Soren Holmbo, a guy who loves to just rock it down low and get his way inside. Good job by Holmbo on that layup.
Yeah, also not a guy I want to get in front of. Looks like a linebacker in the NFL.
Like one of those special teams guys.
Hey,
blitzing on a kickoff.
You can be a starting linebacker.
As Beza, maybe a lane violation, one between Lazarus and Matthew Shapenis, but they're just going to count the basket.
But again, we talk about this a lot, at the end of these games where maybe it's out of reach. How important these minutes are for the bench players, as there's an over-the-back call. How important these minutes are for these bench players who don't get a lot of opportunity during the game. But when they come in with 5 minutes left, you have a lot of time to really show what you can do. And these minutes do matter, and the coaches are watching. So I think you can expect the energy level, the intensity level to stay the same over the next few minutes as some of these guys look to kind of earn their spot in the rotation.
Yeah, and as we saw last year, Tom Beza came into the game against the Wesleyan Cardinals, who Yeshiva will face on on Monday on the road in Wesleyan. That's YU's next game. And he really made an impact and created a role for himself down the stretch. And Noam Edger coming out of the game. Johnny Dan headed in. Star forward, formerly of Valley Torah. 2-time Sarachek MVP.
And who can forget the great Charlie Benheim, but the call on Johnny Dan's block. Blocked him off the backboard.
Shout out Ari Ivry.
Shout out Charlie Benheim.
Zach Tuckman as well, current head coach of both Frisch JV and varsity. And speaking of Frisch, it was Hillel Bainash's Yavne who upset Frisch in the opening round, the Tier 1 qualifiers of Bainash's Sarachek experience. He led those Yavne Bulldogs. As now it's Caleb Eller. Eller moving inside on Beza. Can't get the layup, rebound Tom. We got the two Toms, Tom Beza, Tom Waldman, Hillel Bainash, Johnny Dan, and Ben Lazary. Johnny Dan, now Bainash. Beza, back to Dan. Dan moving inside, loses a handle, gets the ball on the floor, tries to throw it out. It's off of Beza, and Beza able to throw it off of Caleb Eller. And Yeshiva Maccabi is going to retain possession.
Yeah, it looks like Johnny Dan might have been out of bounds on that, but that's exactly the reason Tom Beza gave some good minutes last year. It's diving into the bench and saving Yeshiva a possession, but they only got 5 seconds to work with now.
Now the aforementioned Jorge Jimenez into the game, number 30 for Mount St. Mary. As that pass in transition, that ball was taken away from Hersner. by Beza. That'll be out of bounds. Number 1, Ari Shklar back into the game. And it's going to be Dan taking a seat. Shklar in for defense on Rivera, on Jimenez, excuse me. Jimenez pulls up for 3. Rims in and out. The 3 from the 27-year-old, no good. 27-year-old's pretty familiar on this court, as the aforementioned Adi Markovic was 27 in his senior season for the Maccabees. And that's going to be a double dribble on Jimenez. And headed into the game is Marziotti. Taking a seat is Daniel Hersner. Shklar in the corner. Baynash. Now it's Beza. Tries to get it down low, but couldn't get enough on that pass. It was taken away by Mount St. Mary. Jimenez. Now Soren Holmbo fighting his way inside. Soren Holmbo absolutely blitzing the basket and getting another layup.
Yeah, did you see his athleticism and physicality? I'm surprised he didn't get minutes earlier on in this game. And I guess Coach K would know more than us here in Max Live what he's capable of, but he looks like a guy that's got a lot of potential going forward. It could be a really good player for the Knights over the next few years.
Yeah, and Holmbo actually a senior, transferred from Purchase. You get the rare in-conference transfer. As that pass was missed by Shklar, but he gets the rebound. Shklar going to work his way through the baseline. Baynash 4-3. Couldn't get enough on it. As the rebound tipped around off of Ari Shklar. So Mount St. Mary basketball.
Yeah, you mentioned before we talked to Coach Steinmetz about some of the Yeshiva's problems, and it's been holding these leads, right? He said we want to try to keep the lead at 20 or 30 points, and that's exactly what Yeshiva has done today, and I think that's a step in the right direction. The Knights are a good team. They got a lot of talent, and they gave Yeshiva a run for their money. There's a good take right there, but Yeshiva has been able to stay composed, play with the same level of energy for all 40 minutes. And the results will show. There's another turnover by Tom Beza.
Yeah, he was trying to hit Noam Edry, but couldn't get enough on the pass. There's now a 25-point lead for the Macs, 2:45 remaining. Soren Holmbo with the ball, pulls up for 3, and that's good from Soren Holmbo. That dude's been unstoppable since he got on the court. He's now up to 7 for Mount St. Mary. Tom Beza on the layup, gives it off to Edry inside, and then another Israeli connection, Beza to Edry, down low, and Noam Edry back on the board. Now up to 6 for Edry. Excuse me, that's up to 8 for Noam Edry. As that was Brady Shue, who tried to go under and down low. He'll earn himself 2 free throws. Working on Noam Edry over there.
Yeah, Edry, a really talented player. He's a guy that can, definitely, as we saw earlier this season, can definitely be a key player for the Macs with the size and talent. And he's really put it on today. He's having a good game.
Shue can't connect on the second. Rebound taken by Beza. And that pass was thrown away by Tom. Miscommunication between him and Hillel. 2 seniors not on the same page. And it's going to be Mount St. Mary to inbound. And, we were talking a lot about how this is an opportunity for guys. We said it more, Max-centric of guys earning a role who, maybe don't get so many minutes. But Soren Holmbo, who is now checked out of the game for Mount St. Mary, maybe earning himself an opportunity for Coach Kadlubowski. Beza going to check out. Ben Lazary into the game.
Yeah, it's the same stuff we said about Joe Shanzer. All these guys are talented, but it's also the little things you do. It's the energy you bring and just your composure on the court. And Soren Holmbo definitely had that tonight. And I'd expect to see him a lot over the next few games from Mount St. Mary.
As that's a pull-up, no good from Shue. Chupenes tips it out to Eller. Eller couldn't get it, but that's picked up by Marziotti. Marziotti, another 3, rims out. Rebound taken by Ari Shklar. Ari Shklar gets bounced to the floor. And the foul's going to be on Mount St. Mary, which will send Ari Sklar to the line.
Mount St. Mary also another story with this game, shooting 7 for 27 from 3, only 25%. And that's just not going to get it done. If your game plan, or especially as a smaller team, revolves around kicking the ball around the perimeter and getting open looks, and you're not making those open looks, I think that puts you in a rough spot and forces you to overcompensate in other areas. You just haven't been able to do so tonight.
Ari Sklar on the first of a 1-and-1. Couldn't get it. Rebound taken by Brady Shue. Now it's Jose Jimenez. Had a nice move but lost the handle. Tom Valdman on the floor. He's okay to get called for the jump. And it's going to be Mount St. Mary basketball.
Yeah, I think one thing that coaches like a lot is, when you're in those situations where you're on the floor and you're facing potential turnover or jump ball, just take the jump ball. You don't want to risk it. You don't want to throw the ball up for grabs and let the other team get an open layup. As there's a Jimenez trying a three.
No good.
The backs are going the other way.
Rebounded by Lazarus. Now Bainash to push. Sklar, Valdman pulls up. Tom Valdman connects from 3. Yet another Maccabee on the board. As Tom Valdman is the 13th Maccabee to put his name in the scoring column. Steal taken by Bainash. Bainash for Valdman. Back to Bainash. What a play by Tom Valdman. Great communication between the two guards for Yeshiva. And Hillel Bainash, now the 14th Maccabee on the board. Now every Maccabee except for 2 has gone in the scoring column for Yeshiva. As that was up and in from Brady Shue. 26-point lead. About 10 seconds separate shot and game clock. Sklar, Lazarus, Bainash. Hillel Bainash now wearing 24, his 3rd number in 4 years. Noam Edry from the corner for 3. And Noam Edry with his first 3 as a Maccabee. It's taken him a little while. He's struggled to connect from deep. But Noam Edry getting over a clear block at the end of this game. 12 seconds. Brady Shue trying to answer. No good. Rebound Edry, and I'm assuming the Macs will dribble it out here. And as the buzzer sounds, this game will end. Yeshiva Maccabees 89, Mount St. Mary Knights 60. Don't go anywhere, as we'll be back with interview for player of the game on the Max Live postgame show right after this.
Hey Max fans, this is Joseph Gittler, YU class of 1996, founder and chairman of Lekket Israel. The skies are reopening, so come and volunteer with us in Israel as soon as you make it here. Please also consider supporting us as you think about your charity. And of course, go Max!
Max Stern Athletic Center, as the Yeshiva University Maccabees have defeated the Mount St. Mary Knights by a score of 89-60. Like we mentioned, we were talking to Coach Steinmetz before the game. He wanted his guys, not to keep getting 15-point leads and losing them, but to keep it at 20, 30 points. The Maccabees very much did that tonight. One player in particular who was excellent tonight and really helped the Macs maintain that lead was star guard, the 6'3" freshman Joe Schanzer, who's now standing by with Chaim Stark. Chaim, we're waiting for Joe 1 second. Now Chaim, take it away.
All right, Joe, you've worked hard in practices to crack into the rotation, and you've got some real minutes tonight. How did that feel?
It felt great, helping on defense, it always starts with defense. So that was the focus to start the game. Turn to offense, great team win.
Coach Steinmetz was able to get everybody into the game. What does that say about your team's work ethic?
It shows a lot. I think you could see what was even bigger is when everyone got in, when everyone scored, you'd really see how excited everyone was on the bench for everyone who comes in and gets a bucket. So I think that's really the biggest thing showing about our team chemistry.
All right, Joe, you're one of the best players on the team when your family's in attendance. What is that? What does your family give you? A little extra juice maybe when you're on the court?
It's always great seeing them in the crowd, especially like my sister doesn't usually get to come because she's at college. But I always just want to try my best, work hard for them because they don't always get to come. But yeah, I always try for them.
All right. Any shout-outs?
Yeah, shout out my grandfather, Bernie Shanzer in Israel.
All right. Thanks, Joe. Great game tonight. Yosef, back to you.
Thank you, Chaim. Big shout out to the Shanzer family. They were sitting right in front of the booth tonight with custom Shanzer with the 2 instead of a Z, like the Derek Jeter respect. So respect to that, as Joe Shanzer with a really respectable performance, and maybe what could be his coming out party as a Maccabee.
Yeah, I think it'll definitely come a long way going down the stretch in the Skyline. You need some guys off the bench, to come in and give you some good minutes. Joe Shanzer definitely capable of that. We know he's really talented, but it's the energy, it's the defense. He was really good today.
Before we close out tonight's game, we want to once again thank JBS, the Jewish Broadcasting Service, for bringing Max Live to television viewers across the country. JBS celebrates Jewish identity, culture, and education through its around-the-clock programming, and we're so grateful to the Hode family for once again making this season's broadcast possible. We'd like to thank our Executive Director, Eitan Traurig, Executive Producer, Dovid Samson, our Director, Jarrett Lazarus, Associate Producer, Zachary Sicklick, researchers Matthew Lauren and Yaakov Lazar, and our camera operators, Moshe Alter, Seth Schlenk, Moshe Laub, and Alberto Emmanuel Aguilar Spinoza. The Maccabees' next game will be Monday against Wesleyan. That will take place in Wesleyan in Connecticut. That's going to be, that's going to be a 7 o'clock tip-off. Our next game for Max Live will be Wednesday against Purchase College. That will be January 14th, so this coming Wednesday at 8 p.m. And, after that Wesleyan game, that ends the Max Live non-conference stretch, which has been absolutely brutal. But Wesleyan, a team that, they played Farmingdale. Farmingdale actually beat them, so I'm sure Yeshiva's expecting a win there for the Mount St. Mary Knights. Their next game is also going to come on Wednesday. That's going to be against the Sarah Lawrence Griffins. That'll be in Sarah Lawrence, so stay tuned for that for the Mount St. Mary fans. But that'll do it from us here. Once again, final score, Yeshiva 89, Mount St. Mary 60. We apologize for the graphic, but the final score was 89-60 as Yeshiva improves to 5-0 in the Skyline Conference. That'll do it for us. For Avery Stepner, I'm Yosef Silver. Have a great night.